In this video, I'm going to be talking about stress and health. First definition you should know is psychoneuroimmunology. Say that 5 times fast. That is the study of how psychological, neural, and endocrine, that's the hormone processes, combine to affect our immune system and health. And so stress would fall into this psychological component as well as the endocrine, that's the stress hormones, how that all affects your overall health, your immune system. Part of it connects with 2 types of white blood cells. You have B lymphocytes. Your B lymphocytes are going to the white blood cells that release antibodies that fight bacterial infections. You also have T lymphocytes. And these are white blood cells that attack cancer cells, viruses, basically just foreign substances. Now, this can also fall into good foreign substances, like transplanted organs. That is why you have to be on immune suppressants after an organ transplant for life, to suppress these T lymphocytes from attacking the donated organ. And so your immune system can err in 2 directions, particularly if you're under stress. Potentially, it can respond too strongly. And so it may start attacking its own tissues. For example, arthritis can be a result of that, or an allergic reaction. If you're stressed, it can cause an overabundance of an immune response. Potentially, it can also underreact. So the immune system may allow a bacterial infection to flare up. You might see cancer cells multiply faster because of a stress response that has gone poorly. So we'll talk about this in class a little more, but stress cannot give you cancer. It's not going to cause cancer cells to emerge. But what stress can do is keep your body from attacking the cancer cells effectively, and so the cancer that is already there may spread faster if you are under stress versus having a healthier stress response. So it's not going to cause the cancer, but it can make it more difficult for you to fight it if your body has an underreacting response. And so there's a few diseases that connect to stress, or that your book talks about as connected to stress. One is HIV. And again, stress cannot give you HIV, but stress relief can help prevent HIV from turning into AIDS. So a healthy stress response can keep you in the HIV positive range and help prevent AIDS, full-blown AIDS, from forming. So it won't give you AIDS, it won't give you HIV, but appropriate stress relief can help you stay in the HIV category. It also, again, affects cancer. And so we'll talk about this in class a little bit. But some people have found, or some studies have found, that you have an increased risk of cancer within a year after experiencing a significant loss. It causes grief, depression, that sort of thing. So with cancer, again, it's not going to cause the cancer, but the cancer cells that are already there are more likely to grow faster because of the stress. So, for example, one study found that there was a 5.5 times greater risk of getting colon cancer for people who had a history of workplace stress than among those who didn't have work stress. However, some studies have not shown as much of a link. So, for example, Holocaust survivors, people that survived the Holocaust, concentration camp survivors specifically, as well as former prisoners of war, don't have an elevated cancer risk. And so if stress was always responsible for an increase in cancer cells growing, then you would see it in these highly stressed populations, and you don't. So there's some up in the air research with that. They're still figuring it out. But again, it does not cause cancer. It would just affect those T lymphocytes, which would make it harder for your body to naturally fight it off. And then finally, it connects with heart disease. And we'll do a couple of surveys in class connected to type A, type B, and type D personality, which also connects with this. But basically, if you are stressed, you are more prone to heart attacks. It affects a couple of things. It affects cholesterol. So you have higher levels of cholesterol. And it also affects clotting speed. And so the clotting speed and cholesterol levels are raised if you're stressed. They did a study specifically with tax accountants, and in the few months leading up to tax season, April 15th, their cholesterol as well as clotting speed significantly increased. And then after tax season ended, May, June, their levels slowly got back to normal. And so you are significantly more likely to have something like a heart attack, have something like a stroke during this stressful period. So your arteries get damaged basically from the stress, makes you more prone to heart disease. A part of this link, specifically with heart disease, has to do with how you handle stress. And so we'll talk about personality types in class connected to the stress and how that affects specifically your chance for heart disease and stroke. So that is the stress and health.